Number one pick time, yeah, I've got the 2023 Carolina Panthers roster grades. Second team going through. Obviously, we've got a lot more teams to go. But, yep, 2023 NFL roster grades. We've got the Carolina Panthers now. Bryce Young, obviously, being the quarterback. It's going to be kind of tough to grade him. But other than that, let's get into this team's roster. Here we go. Carolina Panthers 2023 roster grades. Here we go. Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Of course, please like and subscribe and enjoy it. We have the Carolina Panthers 2023 roster grades. Obviously, they traded up for the number one pick, gave up a lot of stuff. It was a haul for Bryce Young, obviously, who is now they're going to be their franchise signature caller. I'll be honest, it's going to be an adventure with him. I'll just put it that way. Again, he's probably going to be pretty good, but again, he could get hurt and stuff. We'll see what he can do. But again, we look at the grading. If you weren't here for the last video, obviously being the Jaguars, quarterbacks are every single grade level up, plus, minus, whatever, it's plus 5 points. And yeah, per grade, 3 points is more. Basically, that's for every single thing. I'll average it out for the offense, the defense, the overall, obviously, too, for the actual grade. But the total points, that's up for grabs, obviously, with how many points I give him for each grade. So, keeping that all in mind, guys, that's all I got for, basically instruction. Watch the Jags video. I'll link it in the bio down below. So, yep, that's all I got for the Panthers, guys. Let's get right into the roster grids. Starting out with quarterback. Here we go. All right, and for the Panthers, they have a really interesting quarterback room, to say the least. Obviously, the number one pick in the whole entire NFL draft, we have Bryce Young as the Panthers starting quarterback. Obviously, they traded a haul for him. They traded like 3 first-round picks. No, I think it was 2. And then obviously their number one receiver and legitimate number one receiver and DJ Moore. So they gave up a lot, and they gave like a second, third, whatever. But Bryce Young at 5'10", 194, out of Alabama. He's got all the tools you need to be a great quarterback, and basically anyone's opinion if you don't think he's really good. But he's number one pick, so like he doesn't really matter. But Bryce Young, obviously, is the quarterback. Really, the only thing I can see him holding back is, again, you always saw it. And maybe if he gets hurt or something, that's probably about it. Maybe his arm can't get him in some place, whatever. Drew Brees, more athletic Drew Brees in my opinion. Like, that's kind of a good comparison for him. But yeah, really good prospect. He's their starting quarterback. And Andy Dalton is not a terrible backup. But the problem with that is, every team Andy Dalton's been on since leaving the Bengals in 2019, he's gotten significant starting time for them. He's been like the main starter on those teams. And it's not good because he's never really actually been projected as a starter. Like, well, he hasn't been the main starter in 2020, but he still started some games for the Bears. 2021 for the Bears. So, 3 teams in 3 years. He's actually pretty good with the Saints last year. Almost 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I mean, he was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't great, but he was pretty good. And Matt Corral's there as well, again, coming off that season where he broke his ankle. In my opinion, he's the type of guy who should not be on this team. They could probably trade him for like a receiver or something. They need a receiver, but Matt Corral is not a terrible guy whatsoever. I like him a lot. Again, really funky arm angle. He really hasn't had a shot yet, though. But overall, this quarterback room is really promising. I wouldn't say, again, Bryce Young, there's a little risk with him, but again, he is the number one pick. So got for the Panthers, guys, quarterback room. Let's get right to the grade. And of course, with Bryce Young here, I like him a lot, but again, there's a little risk, and I don't really know where to put him because again, we haven't seen him really play in the NFL yet. But I would want to give him a B-, but he's not like I don't know. Should I give him a B-? I'll give him a B- because if Andy Dalton starts, it's like you're about going to get like average quarterback play, so it's not terrible. And even Matt Corral can go in there and do something. So, and yeah, the reason I'm not giving him a B is because Andy Dalton is not going to give you that, and like there's risk with Bryce Young, but with him on the field, there's a good chance he'll be like about a pretty good starter. But again, a rookie. Again, there hasn't been a rookie that's won MVP. So, you're not going to get that A range. I'm going to be honest, there's really only been 2 quarterbacks ever to really have that great rookie seasons. And honestly, one, Justin Herbert. I'm going to be honest, there really isn't been a quarterback that has played at an elite level in their rookie season. There's been guys who've been really good, but not elite level for the whole season. So, Bryce Young, B+ is best potential for him, but I'm going to be honest, I'm going to say around a B range for him, so he'll have a pretty good year. Obviously, I have them winning the NFC South. He's going to be a big reason why, but in case he gets hurt, the B- is there because of that. I think this is pretty fair. I want to give him a higher grade, but again, you can't really do that because then you'd be pretty crazy. But that will come out to, I think, 35 points for the Panthers at quarterback. I think that's pretty fair. I mean, I want to give him a higher grade, but you can't really do that because, again, not only has Bryce Young never played a game, but you just never see, like, rookie quarterbacks never are elite. Like, it's never happened in the history of the league. So, let's keep them tempered at a B-. Let's get to the wide running back position now. And at running back for the Panthers, obviously, Miles Sanders was signed in the offseason to be their number one back. Obviously, he had 2 pretty productive years in 2021. In my bet, in 2019, 2020 as the number 1 back. 2021 was his worst year by far. Yeah, 5.5 yards per carry is really good against really good offensive line, but didn't have a single touchdown. Last year, though, again, really broke out. You look at it, 8th in the NFL on touchdowns with 11. Also, 1,269 yards, really nice. 5th in the NFL, 8th in carries as well. Now, though, is he much of a receiving back? Probably not. I mean, he's been good. Last year, he wasn't really the receiving back at all. But again, 2019 shows some promise, so we can see that. I think he needs to be a type of guy who gets targeted out of the backfield for them. But Miles Sanders is a solid number 1 back. He's probably a top 10 running back. See another really good year from him. Well, I can probably give him there. Chuba Hubbard, he's been really disappointing so far in his career, but last year in a couple games of the season, again, as their 3rd option, he was actually pretty good. Again, really disappointing rookie year. This year wasn't great, but as the 3rd back behind Dante Foreman and Rasheem Blackshear, even you could argue he was their 2nd back at one point in this year. He was actually pretty good. So, second half season was pretty good. Showing promise, he's just got to step it up this year as that backup. Rasheem Blackshear, if you don't know who he is, he's a really efficient runner. Yeah, he did just not good numbers, but he's looked really good in preseason before. I think he's a pretty solid number 3. Obviously, he had some disaster plays, but yeah, he's not terrible. And even Spencer Brown, obviously, first season out of UAB, really, this is his first real season. He was a special teamer for them. I like him a little too. So overall, they've got 4 solid backs. You probably don't want Spencer Brown getting a ton of playing time. But Rasheem Blackshear's not a bad 3rd back. Chuba Hubbard shows promise, and Miles Sanders is solid number 1. So it's a pretty good backfield overall. And for the Panthers backfield, I'll give them a B. The reason is because other than Miles Sanders, we really don't know if Chuba Hubbard really can take that next step. He's been pretty spotty there. And yeah, like Rasheem Blackshear's the 3rd back, but he's definitely not a number 1. He's a shaky backup too, so you don't want to see them getting touchdowns. Again, Spencer Brown there as the 4th option might not be terrible, but again, you don't want him getting a ton of carries either. So I'll give him a B again. Yeah, you could say they could be a B+. I'd be not bad by that, but again, Chuba Hubbard hasn't really been consistent at all, so we really don't know for sure with him. So, and again, yeah, Miles Sanders is really good, but I gotta give him a B in the backfield. I think that's pretty fair for him. So that's what it's called. 9, 18, what is it called? 24. Wait. Yeah, 24 points for this backfield. Let's get to the wide receiver position. And a wide receiver for the Panthers, they've got a really weird group. I mean, they've got I'm going to be honest, they have 7 guys that could probably be somewhat productive, but they don't really have a number 1 receiver, to be honest. I mean, DJ Chark is really the only receiver that, has actually had experience as the number 1. Again, 2021, he tore his ACL in, week 4. So, we didn't see him that, last year, there was a deep threat, and a guy, he did struggle with injuries. Well, he struggled his whole career. But, again, 2019, as a number 1 receiver, was really solid. Again, was he the best at creating separation? No, but he's a deep threat, and just, that's straight up. He is a deep threat receiver. 2020, it wasn't great, but he was still okay as a number 1, getting worst team in the NFL. But he's never actually played a full season either, so that is concerning. But he's probably going to be their big play type of number 1 type of threat. But he's not consistent at all with health, and even on the field, he is sometimes off. Adam Thielen's a really good veteran presence. Again, he's just really slowing down overall. But we look at his last couple of seasons, he is expected he's going to be their number 1 this year. But it really sucks that he's not on this team anymore. But again, 2019 he got hurt. He really struggled. But I think in 2020 he stepped back from 2018. Obviously his best year, but he had 14 touchdowns, and he's really showed it's been a steady red zone throughout the past couple years. Yeah, he only had 6 touchdowns last year, but he was a really good slot for the Vikings. I really do think Adam Thielen can be a really good option for them. So he's not a number 1 by any means, but worst case, he's probably a top 5 number 3. Not a terrible number 2 either. So he's good, but again, just doesn't create as much separation. Isn't going to be that big play we got for you guys. Terrence Marshall Jr. is definitely going to be their jump ball type of receiver. Last year, again, he didn't really play a lot, but he wasn't terrible. He was honestly pretty good in the few targets he got last year, but again, he definitely needs to step it up this year. He's got to be a big play type of guy for them. I'm not saying he's got to be crazy great, he's got to be really super productive, but at least he's got to have 600 or 700 yards with 7 or 8 touchdowns. I mean, that seems like a lot, but he's going to be not their deep threat, but their jump ball type of physical guy in the red zone. But again, really bad rookie year, but last year he looked a lot better. He's still going to have to step up from this year, though. This has got to be a year where he's going to be really accountable. Jonathan Mingo does have potential to be that really type of guy that can make a lot of plays on the ball, really good possession receiver. receiver. Kind of like the guy, basically they brought in Adam Thielen mostly because to really be that guy who can be reliable and so Jonathan Mingo can develop more. He's really been, I don't know, he's a weird receiver because he's a really good route runner. I mean, not really good, but he's a good route runner. He's got some really good traits in the red zone as well, like good knack for getting touchdowns, but at the same point, really isn't matured well. Again, just needs to get better with creating separation, and he can be physical when he needs to as well, so that's huge. But Jonathan Mingo, I do expect to be the future of this receiving core. And even got Linus Chenault Jr., who's, yeah, he's kind of a gadget receiver. He had that crazy touchdown as well. I sort of get some screen passes here and there. He's a good, like, Curtis Samuel, Deebo Samuel type of guy for them. Obviously, not going to get as many touches, but he's still pretty good. Shi Smith, again, really good versatility. Shi Smith is a very good slot, is a decent slot receiver again. He got some targets early in the season. He really did struggle, though, again, towards the end of the season with on press. You want him as your Y. He can come in there on third down. He's not terrible. Demir Bird is a straight-up deep threat. I mean, you look at the 26 points yards per reception. Might throw him in there once in a while. Hold the defense accountable. Make sure they're not napping. So, yeah, overall, this is a really deep receiving core, but they really don't have any answers in number one. It's a little inconsistent, but overall, I like this receiving core. For that reason, I'll give this Panthers receiving core a C+. The reason is because they've got let's give them 7 guys that can be like solid contributors on this team. The only problem is they don't have a number 1 receiver at all, and you could argue they don't even have a number 2 receiver, like most likely. Jonathan Mingo's really the only guy. Maybe Terrace Marshall if he steps up, where I'm like, yeah, they could have a number 2 receiver for sure in the next couple years, but right now as it stands, I want to give them a C+ because I think it's fair. They've got better depth than a lot of teams do, so with that depth in the receiving core, I got to be able to give them at least a C+. So let's give them 6, 12 points for this receiving core. I want to give them more, but like I know not 12, 18. I just can't because, again, like, they have no number 1 receiver. Time for the tight end position. And a tight end for the Panthers. Obviously, Hayden Hurst is the guy they traded for, right? I don't know. One of the two. They got him from the Bengals. Obviously, he was their number 1 tight end. He's bounced around a little while getting the first-round pick out of South Carolina from the Ravens. He had 2 first year. Like, again, the only reason they drafted him was because he had a lot of potential and stuff. It wasn't a good pick at all. It was an F pick for the Ravens. But they get some, they'll give him a D because they did get stuff back. But rookie year again, didn't do much with the Ravens. With the first year with the Falcons is the number 1 tight end. He wasn't great blocking wise. He was actually a little disappointing, but overall production wise, he wasn't terrible. Last year, and then again back up the last year, he struggled with injury, and when he was on the field, he really struggled with just being able to get open, be productive for Joe Burrow. Something he's really struggled with is consistency in his career. But as a number 1 here, he isn't expected to be the greatest blocker, but they want him to be better in the red zone and be able to be a consistent underneath type of guy for Bryce Young. And now that though, he's got to be able to make those be good at bodying up linebackers. He's just got to be better there because he's faster than them, to be honest. So Hayden Hurst, he's just not a great tight end. I wouldn't say he's like a bottom 5 tight end, but he's pretty close. Ian Thomas really sucks at anything but blocking. He doesn't really do anything. He's just there. I mean, he's a decent blocker, but again, that's kind of it. Tommy Tremble is so raw. I mean, he's gonna be their big play tight end, but that's kind of about it. He sucks, he's a mess technically. But and they also have Giovanni Garcia, fullback, who is a pretty solid blocker and can also run the ball into the end zone. So, overall, this tight end room is a little disappointing, but, I mean, it could be worse. Since Greg Olsen left, the Panthers really haven't had a good tight end. I'm going to give him a C-. I mean, I like Hayden Hurst. He can definitely be like a C+ caliber tight end. Again, he had that 1 starting year with the Atlanta, but other than that, he really hasn't done a ton. Again, not a good blocker. Ian Thomas, you don't want him in the field as much because he does really limit what your offense can do. You're going to have to run the ball a lot more, but he's not terrible either. Tommy Tremble, I mean, I like him, but he's a liability on the field. So, keeping that all in mind, I'm not vibing with tight end room. So, let's go 6, 8 points for this tight end room. So, it is weak. It's one of the weaker part of their teams. Again, it's better than it used to be. It used to be an F. So, I mean, that's good. Time for this offensive line, though. And a really interesting group for the Panthers, to be honest. Again, Ikem Bukwanu, Taylor Moton really anchoring down this offensive line. Ikem Bukwanu had a pretty funky rookie year. I mean, some downs for sure, but he was definitely a little more up than a lot of these other guys. So I like him a lot. Larnell Coleman is actually not even that bad of a pick. I mean, he hasn't really gotten a lot of playing time, but he's looked pretty good in preseason. I like him a little bit. So we'll see what he can do. And JD Dorenzio, I don't even know who this guy is. He's a UDFA at Rutgers. He was their starting left tackle. Gonna be honest, I don't know who this dude is. And then obviously we're talking about the interior in a second. Cam Irving, he's actually not even that bad of a backup. He's been in the league for a while. He's started some seasons. He's been pretty bad. But at the same point, honestly, past couple years, he's been okay. So, I like what they're doing here on the tackles. Pretty good there. Brady Christensen's actually been pretty decent. I mean, he does get overshadowed by Austin Corbett, who is, in my opinion, trending toward a top 10 right guard, or guard in general. But Brady Christensen, he's not terrible. He can definitely block the run. He's got to get so much better in pass protection, though, because Bryce Young, he's going to definitely need it. But overall as a lead blocker and a guy who can move guys up front, he's not a terrible left guard. Justin McCray, there's a reason he's a backup, but he's been one for a little while now, so he's kind of a journeyman type of dude. He's some pretty good veteran with leadership, but that's kind of about it. Deontay Brown, Michael Jordan, there's a reason they've been on a couple teams. They're just not very good. I mean, Deontay Brown, like, he just does you're not going to see him play, I'm going to be honest. Sam Tecklenburg, I'm going to be honest, I haven't really seen much of this dude at all. Why he's their backup. So the depth here, honestly, isn't great. I mean, Cam Irving, Larnell Coleman aren't terrible. Yeah, Larnell Coleman's watched him in OTA so far. He's been pretty good. Cade Mays, I mean, again, really haven't seen anything of him either, so we look at it. I mean, the interior of this offensive line, the depth there is really lacking, but I do like Cam Irving on the Cam Irving does give him a little depth on the tackles wise, and again, Larnell Coleman looks good in OTAs. So, and then again, I forgot to talk about Austin Corbett and Bradley Bozeman. Bradley Bozeman is basically just your straight up average center, below average run blocking, average to above average, a little bit above average pass blocking. He's pretty good at maintaining leverage. Now that though, you're not going to beat him with any type of finesse move. He's actually really good there and pretty athletic. So Bradley Bozeman, solid center. Austin Corbett, really good overall as a guard, really steady, really consistent. He's not going to really make any mistakes. I mean, yeah, he might go to sack once in a while, but he's really good. You could argue he's the best offensive lineman. Obviously, Kevin Quinn will probably be in a year or two. But honestly, this offensive line is pretty solid. I'm going to give this offensive line a C+. You know, I'll give them a B- because they're returning all the guys that helped them with their run blocking. The only problem is they don't have much depth at all, but I do like the fact they have like 5 solid offensive linemen. They're all really good. The only problem is Cam Irving's really the only backup that I'm really comfortable with. But again, with the run scheme they ran last year and the fact that all those guys are pretty okay run blockers other than Bradley Bozeman, who got helped out a lot by Austin Corbett and Brady Christensen, I think that'll all work out for them. I'll give them a B-. I think this offensive line's pretty good. Let's say that is 6-12. 14 points for this offensive line. Let's get to the overall offensive grade. And for this Carolina offense, they're going to get a C+ overall. That's how it averages out. I think that's pretty fair for them. They've got a pretty good offense. I mean, it's not going to be anything special. Again, they can probably be able to run the ball pretty well. Yeah, Miles Sanders doesn't really give them the power they had with Dante Foreman, but he's still honestly more versatile. So this offense is more has better diversity than it did last year, and they get 99 total points if you didn't add those up yet. But yeah, C+. I think that's pretty for this offense. I'm expecting them to be pretty decent. I mean, like steady 16, 17 in the league. Probably around average, to be honest, but they definitely have a pretty consistent offense. That's one thing I think that's going to be really good for them. They're not going to put up 40 points, I guess, all season, but with Bryce Young, they do have a lot more potential than they did with Sam Darnold last year, and whatever the heck you want to call the other quarterbacks. Yeah, Sam Darnold was actually pretty good, but still, I'm going to be honest, they're going to be able to keep up. Now that though, I don't think they're turning the ball over as much, which is going to be good for them. Now let's get to the linebackers, who, to be honest, is a really, really weird position for them at this point in the season. At this point of the video. And obviously, they do run a 3-4, so we're gonna go through all, and I mean all, these defensive linemen. So first things first, Yeturgos Matos is really an edge rusher. Why is he here? I don't freaking know. I'll be honest, like, I don't know. I like the NFL teams now are gonna be doing that, but like, they really run a 4-3, but they run a 3-4 so they can get more guys in the field. It's really weird. First things first, though, Shaq Thompson is a very, very good, solid linebacker. Is he great in pass coverage? No, there's really not many guys that are. But is he decent? I mean, they do run a 3-4. So we're gonna go through these guys. Shaq Thompson, yeah, he's good, but again, like he's a starting caliber linebacker. Like he's solid. Pass coverage could be better, but I mean he's not terrible. Frankie Louvu is better in pass coverage, but he still can't really tackle. Again, he had 7 sacks. Keeping that in mind, really big playmaker, but he's got some pretty good athleticism. But the problem with him is again he's just not really consistent tackling wise. So he gets better there. I think he can be a stud, to be honest. He showed a lot of promise last year. So they got those 2 guys there. Brandon Smith is so raw. He still is. I mean, he made 6 tackles, but he's honestly the most athletic linebacker outside of Micah Parsons in the league, in my opinion. Like, he makes some plays, but he's still got a lot of developing to do. We'll see what he can do this year with a bigger role. Cameron Grugier, obviously getting him over from Houston. Didn't have a ton of playing time last year, but he has started in the past. So, keeping that all in mind, again, 2021 was starting year. Obviously, 2022 got traded and stuff. Really weird year for him. I mean, he's not a terrible sub-linebacker, to be honest. You'll probably see him there as well. He can really clean up the junk. I mean, don't want to put him man-on-man, but other than that, I mean, they're not bad. Chandler Wooden, I'll be honest, no idea who this guy is. Don't want to play him. But Bumper Poole, though, rookie out of Arkansas, this guy's the best name ever. Bumper is honestly a pretty solid linebacker. The problem with him is can't blitz. Don't have him on a blitz, which can be a little bad, but and it just takes a lot out of your defense in terms of what you can do, in terms of run fits you can do. But I like the first four they got here. Again, Brandon Smith is a big wild card, but, I mean, Shaq Thompson, Frankie Louvu are both pretty good starters, and Cameron Ruger-Hill is a pretty good depth piece. That's all I got for the linebackers. Let's get right to the grade. In this Carolina linebacker core, I'll give him a C+. The reason I give him that is because Shaq Thompson, yeah, he's like a B- of a player, but Frankie Louvu isn't a great tackler. I want to give him a B, but, like, I just can't. Like, not right now. We've seen 1 year of these guys. They've been pretty good. I just can't give them a higher grade, to be honest. So, let's say, what is this? 12... I mean, my bad. Yeah, 12, 24 points for this linebacker core. Let's get to the defensive line. Yeah, here we go. This defensive line, to be honest, is really weird because Shy Tuttle is actually pretty good. Like, he is really good at putting pressure on the quarterback consistently out of that nose tackle position, which is just not there. Again, doesn't really have much diversity in terms of the moves he has. He has actually a pretty decent swim move, but other than that, again, just really power. 49 total tackles. He had also 2 sacks, though. Really underrated part of the acquisition. I see Derek Brown is their superstar type of dude. He's gotten better every single year. Has he been a little disappointing? Yes, but he's gotten better every single year. Last year 67 total tackles. He's really a guy you got to watch out for in terms of making plays. Really good on run defense. Yeah, he only has 6 sacks total in his career, which isn't great, but he's still progressing here. He's a really solid type of player there. Henry Anderson, I'm gonna be honest, he's kind of been just the back of his whole career. I mean, he was decent with the Jets in 2018, but other than that, really hasn't been much for a guy who's supposed to be just really a pass rusher. But, I mean, he does provide something for them. Bravion Roy's been a decent backup his whole career. Marquand McCall, same thing. Deshaun Williams, really weird dude. He actually started for Denver last year. Like, he got some good playing time. And he honestly was pretty decent. I mean, he was backup the other couple of years, but, I mean, actually, 2021 he actually started. But he's actually been really solid. I mean, the reason he's a backup is because he can't really, to be honest, maintain leverage at all, and that's kind of why he's here. But they've got 6 dudes where I'm like, they're solid. I mean, Marquand McCall is really the only weak link, and even then, he's a solid backup. So, gonna be honest, this is a really solid depth of defensive line, and Henry Anderson is not great, but they'll run a lot of swaps here. Again, Shy Tuttle won't have to play a ton. Marquand McCall can come in there as well, and even Bravion Roy. Raekwon Williams is not a guy you want to see in the field, but I mean, they've got 6 dudes where I'm like, this is a solid defensive line. Like, it's not gonna like blow you away at all, but again, they can really stop the run, and they actually have some okay diversity. For that reason, I'm gonna give this Panthers defensive line a B. I think they actually deserve it. Like, they've got a decent defensive line. Again, they're really there to stop the run with the guys they have off the edge, but I do think overall they're a pretty solid group. So, like, I think they're good. Yeah, 6, 12, 14, 16. So, 16 points for this defensive line. Let's get the overall pass rushing grade. This should be fun. Okay, guys, pass rush for the Panthers has always been something they've stressed to really get good at, and they've been pretty good the past couple years. Obviously, Shy Tuttle and Henry Anderson are the real main guys to get off the edge, to get penetration up the middle. Derek Brown can do it, but again, he's really just not great at converting. He's still a really good player, obviously. That's why they get the B. Honestly, you could argue they get a B+, but Henry Anderson just can't really stop the run. And yeah, they're really good backups, too, but I mean, I want to give him a B, whatever. Back to the pass rush, though. Brian Burns is a #1 pass rusher. He's been his whole career. Again, 12.5 sacks last year. Really proved to anyone who thought he wasn't great consistency-wise. He's really good. Like, stop, really, really good. He's a #1 pass rusher. Really, really athletic as well. Marquise Haynes Sr., he's really a guy who makes a lot of plays, but he's also a really smart player. Even if he's not going to get a sack, he will make a play. He'll make some type of impact from the play. Really valuable guy there. Marquise Haynes Jr. is a really solid player. Sirius Matos really hasn't been great as a second-round pick. I mean, he hasn't been terrible, but, like, he's really been a backup, so it's kind of a bust pick, but he's still not terrible. DJ Johnson, to be honest, I haven't really seen much of him out of Oregon. I watched a little bit of his tape. He's really an athletic type of dude. He's actually kind of, like, he's actually a bigger dude for an edge rusher, but he's not terrible at all. I mean, he's got some decent moves, just really struggles with explosion. Amiri Barnow as well is a guy who struggles with explosion. They don't have, other than Brian Burns and just Sirius Matos even, they really don't have a guy who just straight up can just blow you off the edge. So that's something we definitely deal with. But overall, they got some pretty good depth on this defensive line, on this pass rush. And again, they get some pretty decent penetration as well. Jordan Thomas is a decent run stopper as well. So overall, I like this pass rush a lot. I'll give this pass rush a B again as well. I can't give them anything higher just because of the fact that they have Brian Burns, but they really don't have enough They don't have a Robin. They have decent depth, but they don't have that Robin. Even then, Brian Burns has shown when other guys aren't producing like a ton, he gets shut down because when the teams double team him, he can't be his best because again, he's just a lot of focus on him. So that's 12, 24. What is it called? 32 points for this pass rush. I think that's pretty fair. They got a really good pass rush. I mean, I can't give it a B plus just because, again, they don't have that extra deep. If they have one more guy who can just be really good, I'd give them that. And even, like, the pressure interior could have been better. But, yeah, B for this pass rushing grade. Let's get to the cornerback room. And we look at this cornerback room for the Panthers. It's really weird because, to be honest, they got no depth. They've got, like, 2 guys that are really solid, and, like, it's kind of question marks here and there. But first off, J.C. Horn's a stud. I mean, he's just unbelievable. Like, very, very good. After, what was it, tearing his ACL, he did something in his rookie year. He got out for the whole season. But last year, yeah, he did give up some catches and some yards, but he's the number 1 corner. He proved it. Like, J.C. Horn is legit. Like, really, really good if he can stay on the field. Dante Jackson, yes, he was their number 1 coming. I think he still will be because, again, you can't beat him over the top, but he did tear his ACL. I think so. Whatever. He got hurt against the, what the heck did they play? Oh, yeah. He got hurt against the Bengals back this year. I think he tore his ACL. He screwed up his ACL. He's not going to be as fast as he was. I mean, he's still, like, unbelievable in terms of his speed. Like, so fast. But I don't think he'll be as great again. Really solid type of zone blanking corner. They don't, like, J.C. Horn is their man type of dude, but if he doesn't lose his step, he can prove he still has it. I do think Dante Jackson will be a really huge piece for them. C.J. Henderson is just a bust at this point. I mean, he wasn't terrible last year, but he gave a lot of yards. And again, like, as a slot dude, C.J. Henderson has to realize he can't just bite on all these routes like he did in college. Like, he was able to get away with in college. He's just not as good as as good as a caliber player as he was in college. So he's definitely got to get better there. He's still got a lot of talent, though. I'm not giving up hope there. Stanley Thomas Oliver III, honestly, again, like, he's been in the league a little bit, but we look at it, rookie year wasn't great as a backup. Again, last year didn't really play at all, which I'm happy about because he wasn't very good. But he's really been a backup his whole career. He's not terrible, but not great. Keith Taylor Jr. is going to have to step it up a lot, to be honest. So they've got that, but again, they've got 2 really solid corners. Again, Dante Jackson, we don't know what's going to happen after that ACL, but to be honest, this cornerback room is really thin, even though they have 2 really solid guys. So for that reason, I got to keep this cornerback room at a C+. I want to give him a B because they have a number 1 really good 2 corners, but C.J. Henderson still hasn't proven to be a consistent player. And even then, they really don't have anyone else who can do much. So they're really thin in that cornerback room. You know, I'll give him a B- because J.C. Horn, you could argue, is top 10 corner. So I'll give him a B-, but it's really just because they have J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson, who could lose a step, but I'm not going to concern about that. Like, he's still really good. So, overall, this cornerback room is super thin. But, you know, I got to keep him a C+. They're just so thin. Like, I can't get over that. So, let's say they're, what is it called, 6, 12 points to the second cornerback room. Again, just paper thin. Time for the safety room. And unlike the, what is it called? Unlike the cornerback room, this safety room for the, what is it called? Panthers is actually really deep, which does compensate a lot for it. Xavier Woods, has he been a great player ever in his career? Absolutely not. He's just been around average. Like, he was actually pretty good with Dallas in 2018 as a starter, like, really solid. But other than that, he really hasn't done a ton. I mean, he's just really, like, he's like a steady, solid, really solid type of pretty straight safety for them. Is he the most athletic? Definitely not. But other than that, I mean, he's a really solid player. Von Bell, again, stealing it from the Bengals. Really solid, strong safety. Really good at making tackles. Actually pretty good in zone as well. So they got you really solid starting corners. Eric Rowe has done his duties as a corner in the league. Was solid last year. I think he's a solid player. Like, yeah, pretty good. And then obviously Jeremy Chin, who is just absolutely atrocious in coverage. Like, just oh my god, awful. But really good tackler, really good at making plays. Jeremy Chin is a very boomer bust type of player. Jamie Robinson isn't terrible either. Again, the Florida State guy. I think he's okay. I mean, yeah, he did just I'm gonna be honest, like, really struggled against some really good tight ends. So he's got to definitely get better there as a strong safety. But for Sam Franklin Jr. is also pretty good as well. As a type of backup type, they got 6 safeties. I mean, there's not many teams that have that, and like, they're all pretty solid. So, I mean, they've got a team. Like, they've got some safeties. So, unlike this cornerback room that's paper thin, they're gonna have to try out a lot of safeties. Other than Xavier Woods, I really ain't comfortable. I'm not really that comfortable. I mean, yeah, Von Bell too. Let's say Von Bell's Von Bell and Xavier Woods are the best cover guys. Obviously, that's what they're starting. But other than that, I'm really not comfortable with any of these other guys just straight up covering tight ends. So that could be a little bit of a problem. But other than that, I mean, they've got 6 safeties. They're gonna have to try out like 3 or 4 safeties on every play because if J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson get hurt, they're screwed. And for this safety room, I'll actually give them a B. Obviously, they don't have anyone who blows you away overall. You could argue they get a B+, but, you know, I will give them a B+, because they really don't have a liability there. So, yeah, they don't have any superstar safety, but they've got 6 safeties who I all expect to be at least average this year, who are going to be able to go in and just be really, really good. Yeah, do they have an elite safety? No, but Von Bell is definitely a above-average safety, and, yeah, you do have Xavier Woods there as well, who's been good his whole career. So, I'll give them a B plus here. I think they deserve that. That's all I got for the safety room for them. I mean, is it high? Yes, but I think they deserve it. I mean, you could argue that's the best part of their team right now. So let's say 12, 24. No, my bad. 9, 18, 27 points for this safety room. Let's get the overall defensive average and grade. I mean, points. And for this defense, I'm gonna give them a B. I think that's pretty fair here. So they actually average out to a B minus, but I really do think this defense deserves a B because they really don't have a part of their defense that's like weak or like a liability. Yeah, their cornerbacks are paper thin, but when they're healthy, they've got a really solid defense. Yeah, is it paper thin again? Yeah, but like the linebackers won't blow you away. But the like front seven's really solid, and the safeties are just so deep that I gotta give them a B here. Again, kind of comes out. You gotta see how we're getting a B and a B plus. Again, there are points where they just fall off the rails, where they're like all over the place. But in my opinion, this defense is a very good one. I'll give them a B in my opinion. That's what I got there for the Panthers. Time for the special teams unit. And now we look at this Panthers special team unit. Actually, Eddie Pinheiro last year wasn't terrible. He was actually pretty good. I mean, he missed a couple extra points, but his field goal percentage was really good. So I'm not mad there. Again, it's not going to be some crazy long-range field goal, but kicker, again, he's been shaky in the past, but, I mean, you don't want him in the clutch. He's not, like, a great kicker, but I guess he works. Johnny Hacker kind of took a step back a little bit last year as a punter, but he was still really solid. So I'm going to be honest, he's really good. Shi Smith, obviously their punt returner, was just okay, I guess. I mean, he's definitely a better receiver in my opinion, but he's not terrible. Rasheem Blackshear, again, having a running back as a kick returner is really a good thing. I think he's solid there. And again, J.J. Jansen is a long snapper. He's been pretty decent. I mean, don't really know much about him. He's been in the league a really long time. So, yeah, that's all I got for the special team unit. It's around average. I'm gonna give this special teams unit a C plus. I mean, the kicker's not great. That's kind of about it, though. Shi Smith isn't great, but overall, I'll give a C plus. I think their special teams unit, again, it's okay. So let's give what is it? 6 points for the special teams unit. Let's get to the overall depth grade. And for the Panthers' depth, it's really an interesting part of their team to say the least. Obviously, you look at it, quarterback, they've got some pretty good depth. Running back, they've got some okay depth, not great. Wide receiver, really good depth. Tight end, meh, depth's not terrible. Offensive line, actually could use a little help there. They really have only one guy who I'm comfortable coming in, so we'll give him like a C plus. Like a C minus for their depth. Offensive overall, I'm gonna be honest, they got really one position where I'm like, eh. But other than that, I'll be honest, they're gonna get like a B for their depth. They've got some pretty good depth there. Linebacker depth is like a C plus. I mean, it's okay. Defensive line depth, B. Honestly, give them an A minus. They're pretty good there. Pass rush depth, B minus. On to be honest there. Cornerback depth is an F. I mean, they've won like 2 guys, and that's about it. Safety depth though is an A plus. I mean, you can't really get better than 6 safeties. Yeah. You know, A. So, an overall defense average, I mean, it's all over the place. I'm going to give it like a B minus. So, the depth of this team, I'm going to be B minus. They've got some pretty good depth, but again, there's some positions that are really could use like a solid corner. So, again, cornerback is just all really glaring. But other than that, I mean, like, everything else is pretty good. Again, they get some positions with a lot of depth. So, I think that does even it out. I'll give them a B minus. I think that's pretty fair for them, which comes out to 12, 24, 28 points for this, overall team depth. Let's get the identity. So with Frank Reich as their head coach, I really don't know what they're going to want to do, but what we saw with Indy really worked out well. Again, you could argue this Panthers defense is better, and they've got a better quarterback for this team. So the 2021 Colts obviously ran the ball a lot. They don't have the type of they don't have the type of running back. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, like, you can't compare him with Miles Sanders. So just being fair for Miles Sanders. So you can't compare him there. But again, you do have some pretty good power backs with Chuba Hubbard and Rasheem Blackshear. So for this identity, I think they've got one. Again, the defense is gonna have to carry the way a lot in some games. So keep an eye all in mind, though. I'll give them a B. I think they got a pretty good idea what their identity is gonna be. But if Frank Reich doesn't make up his mind again, last year was a crapshoot for him. So gonna be honest, I'll give them a B though. I do think they have a pretty good identity. So what is that? 15, 30. 40 points for this team's depth. I think that's pretty fair. Let's get this overall team's roster grade now. Let's go to here's Panthers roster grade. And for the Panthers, their overall roster grade will be a B minus with 284 points. In my opinion, they've got a solid roster because there really isn't a position where there's a big hole. Tight end's really the one position I'm like, eh. But other than that, this Panthers squad has a really solid roster. Again, a lot of Bs. They don't have a crazy great position. I mean, safety is really the only position where I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. But they really don't have many holes in this team yet. Again, nothing overwhelming, but I do think this Panthers squad is pretty good. I'll give them a B minus overall. Again, 284 points. That's all I got for the Panthers, guys. They got a pretty good showing in this roster grading. So yeah, good for them. And yep, see you in the next one.
Smith to the outside, set up the double screen.